Yeah, speed run. So the glossary, I think we went B. Self-promotional, A. I think we went A on direct comparisons now.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds like a thing. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Just FYI, I'm gonna have a hard stop at 3:30, which I didn't realize it was on my Zoom line. Otherwise, I could have rolled in late.
No worries.
Yeah. All right,
So we'll just make this. We'll make it a speed run version.
sounds good.
Okay. Boom. We both hate comment spam. We both hate negative SEO. All right. Boom. Yeah, we'll speed run this guy. So, Parasite SEO labeled published content on high authority third party domains, Medium, LinkedIn articles, or industry subpages to piggyback on their domain authority for competitive keywords. Google's been cracking down on this, but it's still working for now. I would argue it is working as well as ever because the tactics have evolved, and I've always used this. I've always believed in repurposing content on several platforms, and there's a number of ways to address it. But is that how you think of Parasite SEO as third party publishing?
Yeah, I think of it that way. This is fun. It just made me think of the good old days when you could just post something on Medium and instantly be on the first page. It had just insane. It was like Reddit ranking authority before there was Reddit, really. But no, I think it's really useful. And even going a little bit less black hat and just posting everything you're posting on your website, posting to your Google business profile, because now you can schedule those out. I mean, because we can assume Google is going to favor their own platforms. So maybe that's a way to really work around that as well. We've had good success doing that. So what tier are you going to put it at, Connor?
Ooh, I'm liking. I want to put it in S tier because it's actually where I'm leaning on the hardest, and it's still so effective, and I mean it's the number one way to game the LLMs today is through Parasite SEO. So I would say S.
I'm going to go with S as well.
Awesome. Our first S tier. Expired domain acquisition. I've never done this. I've never used it. I know you've said it's been helpful for you in the past. Where would you put this in 2026?
I think you should always, it's hard to rank this. I don't think you should intentionally do this, but you should always keep an eye out. If somebody lets their domain expire, just grabbing that up is really useful. And to protect yourself, always have every version of your website's domain as a defense as well. So I'm going to put this as a B. I wouldn't recommend people go out and do this, but it's a good thing to be aware of.
I defer to your judgment on that, and I definitely know other SEOs who have had great success and swear by it. I also know a lot of SEOs who sell it as a service, so I personally have a hard time deciphering what's real out there in that
Absolutely.
world. Skyscraper content popularized by Brian Dean at Backlinko. I think that's his term he branded many years back, meaning building a massive ultimate guide style post where you cover every piece of the topic so thoroughly that Google is forced to realize you are the authoritative source for that topic. I think it actually went. I became a bigger fan of like a hybrid volume, high quality but scaling volume approach versus. I think the skyscraper approach works, but it's very difficult to get buy-in consistently, especially if you're an in-house marketer, a B2B marketer. especially a B2C marketer. Getting leadership to be comfortable with you spending weeks or even months researching a topic is very tough, but I would imagine AI is actually making that much more feasible now.
Well, AI is making it more feasible, but it's also creating more potentials for error. If you're just delegating everything and not giving great input to the AI, and you have to then go look through a 10,000 word article, there's a lot of things you could miss there. But that being said, I still think this is a very solid option. I mean, it has many different faces, many different ways of how it's looking. And I think there is a good compromise. If you're trying to scale and publish maybe bi-weekly, aim for 15,000 to really 2,500 words, still make it in-depth and useful, but without going just full months of research. Maybe look at those one a quarter. So it's good, but I think the hybrid approach, like you said, is the best way to do that. So what tier are we going to put it at?
I love pillar post building. I would say S tier because it really does apply to every niche. It just depends on if we want to ding it for being difficult to get approval on.
I mean, it's difficult, but it works. So I think we have to put it S tier.
I agree. I'm actually going to double up these Content Hub pillar pages because I think that's a same thing.
Oh, absolutely.
FAQ schema markup. If you asked me 5 years ago, I would have thrown this in A, maybe even S tier at least, because it's so easy to use and it was so effective when you could get your actual FAQ drop boxes showing up in the Google search results. For a while, I even was having links I included in the FAQ boxes. If you open them in Google, the link, like the internal link to our other pages, would actually show up to Google too. So I love these, but you think it's less effective now?
I think it's less effective, or at least we're in a period of transition, right? Like it used to also be the things you need to worry about for schema. It was just a few things. You could really spend the time, put in the work, and see the results. I think it's going to be more effective over time as more people start their AEO optimization, adding things like organizational schema, building in people's reviews into the schema. But with that requires a lot more heavy lifting on the code side. So it can be really effective, but for everybody, I think it's going to be hard for them to go to the deep level. I think they should hire somebody for that. So what do you think, A or B tier? I think it's not the world changing thing it was, but I think it may be again. I think we're in an in-between phase.
I don't push back on B tier, and I think it'd be interesting to maybe talk about schema as a whole with this topic too. So I'll be honest, I'm really conflicted where I want schema to be really important because it's kind of confusing for regular people. I spent tons of time figuring out my templates for it. I see so many people that do have success without it though. I do wonder how much it matters truly versus how much is hype from us as a service. I also wonder how LLMs will actually evolve to use it or not use it over time. I'm really torn. I don't know.
It's definitely not something you want to start with, right? Like maybe that's the thing when you really just started to hit that natural ceiling of your regular optimizations, making everything's there. Maybe that then becomes the deciding factor. Kind of like page speed. It's not going to be the number one ranking factor, but if you have two essentially equal sites, the nod's going to go to the faster, better performing site. So maybe it ends up like that, but definitely don't start with it. But you want to do B tier? Can we agree on that?
B tier, yeah. And I like your point where it's a great ROI easy option, but yeah, it's not part of that 20% that does the 80% for you.
Absolutely.
Okay, Haro and journalist pitching. I've never done this successfully. I mean, I've had a few great PR wins from personal relationships like that, but the actual going to Haro or going to any online platform and trying to get matched with a news writer I've never had success with it myself.
I haven't used this one in a decade, to be really fair. So I used to work in local politics. It was really just trending up the news chain. You start small, it gets picked up by the higher level news thing and basically keeps trending and no one bothers to go back and interview the source. I had it be really successful then, but I think this is less important now because also traditional news media, and that's a long topic we could go on, the good and bad of that. But I think it's a disappearing opportunity over time. Like a
Agreed. Yeah,
lot,
and I
huh?
think its status as a legacy, it really is a legacy tactic that as legacy media dies off, this is becoming less effective.
And we have so many news sites that are basically just putting out quick AI slop for their news stories now. Like, so they've kind of swapped out too. So
How about C tier?
yeah, I think that's good.
Bam. All right, I want to skip some fun ones. Let's look at Reddit seeding. So posting genuinely helpful answers on Reddit threads that rank in Google, mention your brand naturally, and it works because Google now heavily indexes Reddit, gets you banned if you're not subtle. I've had many assistants of mine get banned already, trying to figure out how to optimize this tactic. I myself have had great success on Reddit and other forums. I've had no success scaling that kind of program because it's totally based on personal relationships.
Yeah, so I agree with that. Number one, let's just start. AIs love Reddit. Like, there's some crazy stats out there on how that's the basis of almost every result. But that being said, it's such a fine art. Even advertising on Reddit, right? It's so hard to do that in an edgy but natural way that doesn't just get you absolutely roasted. And yeah, doing it on a personal account, yeah, I think it's hard. I think it's a long-term strategy to look for a way, and I think you do have to put that groundwork in to do the personal relationships. But if you have a really niche category, there's probably going to be a subreddit for it, and it's going to be smaller. It's probably going to be less heavily moderated, and it can probably move the needle for you. Like if you're a very niche business use case, you can probably get away with that. But if you're trying to do something big, like if you're, I don't know, like a healthcare giant or like a big like restaurant chain, like it's not going to work for you. It's going to be hard. But I think it's situational. It can be very effective. It's very hard to do correctly and not get banned.
That's so true. Yeah, I want to give it A tier because it's so effective, and I don't want to punish it too harshly for just because there are so many people who are doing it bad. But I don't see a path for how to get people to do it good on scale. I think it is kind of it's a soft skill issue for a lot of people.
Yeah, and Reddit has also started banning your other accounts that aren't that one, but it can see are related if you keep violating. So it gets really risky if you don't do it the right way. So
Yeah.
I agree with that.
So maybe it's between A and B. Let's go with. I want to go A tier because I
Yeah.
think this would apply to forums in general. Yeah. All right. Podcast guesting for backlinks. I am interested to hear your opinion. I think my opinion on this is you can take what you want from the fact that I am investing in this heavily and making it a big part of my 2026 strategy. So I think there's something to it, but I'm curious what your thought is on the podcast marketing.
All right. Well, I'm gonna sneak in a compliment, but it's 100% true, Connor. You do it the right way. If you do it the right way and actually provide value, much like SEO content, right? If you're actually putting the work in and making it useful, not just for an AI engine, but to a person reading it, it's helpful. You do a good job. I think it's still really important, and I think with the rise of tools, even YouTube videos, they have the caption and the transcripts, which now can be indexable by some of these AEO options, and in a way that feels more natural and, forgive the pun, organic. I think it can be very, very helpful. However, if you end up acting like, let me say, 60% of people in our field, like on LinkedIn, just saying, oh, I'm going to host every day, SEO is dead. And then there's a guy right below them. SEO has never been more important. Like, you need to actually generate value for this to work and be effective longer term. But yeah, it's very effective as long as you put in the work.
Well, I appreciate the kind words. Yeah, I agree. I think we talked about before, it's part of the whole soft skills movement. As we become more digital and more reliant on robots to do everyday tasks for us, the value of a real person who you can actually trust because you see videos of them that are not AI generated and you see content from them that are clearly handwritten and not just copy and pasted from a LLM. Those people are going to be the ones who are selling the most and getting shared the most because nobody really wants to share a virtual AI bot.
Absolutely. And I think we can both agree just in our AEO niche as well. There's a lot of value of just being honest and like very open with people about what it is and what it isn't, what it can do and what it can't do. There's not enough of that in our industry, and I think there's some opportunity.
Oh yeah. So podcast guest for link building, that gets S tier status from us. We got time for one more, Marcus, and I would like you to pick. Well, maybe two more. How about you pick these last ones and see what we are interested in?
All right, let's make sure we hit the big one. Do you want to talk AI content at scale?
Oh yeah, let's see. Where is that?
Top row. We've been going through a lot. Yeah.
Gray Hat, generating hundreds of posts within LLMs, publishing them with minimal editing. Quality ranges from surprisingly decent to obvious slop. The tactic that has launched thousands of Twitter debates. I don't know why anybody, I don't know why people debate this, and I don't really know how you can try to defend this topic with a straight face, even if it is effective. It's kind of embarrassing to defend out loud. But my take is that it's not actually effective, and it's going to get people dinged much faster than it gets them paid.
Absolutely. I'm going to have to do this straight to F tier. It doesn't work. And well, hey, maybe it gets you up in the rankings. God forbid somebody click on that link and read just the full of spelling errors article on your website. Like that's not going to get you a conversion. And when we're trying to rank, I think it's important to remember why we're trying to rank. It's to get a conversion, to increase business sales, help a client, not just to get somebody to land on the website. That's not really the end goal of SEO. And yeah, that being said, you can use AI as a force multiplier as long as you use it intentionally. But AI, I think the great lie we were all told, AI is not your replacement. It's a tool for you to do more and to do it better. And as long as you use it that way, your goal. But if you try to just replace your work, it's going to show, and it's not going to help. And plus, the Google and the AEO engines, they're smart enough to pick up when you're doing this. It's not worth it. Straight F tier.
Could not agree more. I yeah. Just because it's not only is it, I'm seeing so many agencies especially try this and consultants, and I'm seeing an occasional win here and there. They'll have an informational topic or a mid funnel topic that actually does get some traffic, but then they also have now dozens of pages that do nothing on their website, that they have no memory or attachment to. They're not tracking, they're not really being thoughtful about what's being said on those. And there's no way Google is not going to start noticing patterns and updating their algorithm to penalize this really repetitive, obvious AI watermark content. So I feel like people are just hanging an albatross around their neck right now. And yeah, it's going to be really tough to avoid decay as the algorithm improves next few months.
Yeah, absolutely. And literally, AI engines are best at sorting through large amounts of data to find patterns. I mean, you're just teeing it up for them to find you as well.
Mm-hmm.
But all right. With
Marcus, this was fun, man. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for
Warren.
Sorry?
You got time for one more just because it goes with that pretty well?
Oh, heck yeah, yeah. Which one?
Let's do content refresh, republish.
Oh, absolutely. Updating old posts with new data, re-optimize and republish with the current date. It's low effort, high ROI, recycling, but make it marketing. Why don't you go first?
All right. Well, and I feel like everything we do is yes, but here's the thing. If you do this right, it's incredibly effective. So one of the things we did last year was look, hey, what post or what content piece we put up that we're just killing it, and slowly we're starting to see that decay over time. Because when you look at it that way, pick those top things, you already know it's a great article. Google loves it. And so going in there and actually taking the time, don't just update the refresh date. Go in there, add in some new things that have added. Actually refresh that content. I've seen some really significant results with that, as long as you're actually taking the time and doing the work, not just editing, republishing without actually changing.
Absolutely. It's S tier for me. It is actually it's always one of the first 3 items I go through with any client as our first hit list. It is the easiest way to generate fast improvements, because Google is going to rank you better for a page that already ranks much faster than they're going to trust a brand new page for new terms. And I find, like you're saying, if you're just a little bit thoughtful about it, a little goes a long way. Just, take the first and last 100 words of the content, rewrite it, maybe add a summary bullet point list at the beginning of each one.
Mhm.
And another content tactic I'm using for myself and for garden partners lately is have an AI tool create a slide deck version of your blogs and re-upload those images into your blog with SEO optimized titles.
I may steal that one. That was a great idea, Connor.
Well, Mark, I appreciate your time today, man. I know you got a call to get to, and we'll get this published out, and hopefully we can do it again.
Looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.
Much appreciated. Talk soon. And cut.